Live at the Nasdaq market site in Times Square, I'm Elise Southwell, and this is Nasdaq Disruptors. Today we're talking about payment technology, specifically ways small businesses can take payments via smartphones and tablets. We're sitting here today with Derek Webster, CEO of CardFlight, that's here to talk to us about advances in electronic transactions and how they improve commerce for small businesses around the world. Welcome, Derek. Thanks for being
Elise.
here.
Happy to be here.
What is CardFlight?
So CardFlight builds credit card payment acceptance technology that's used by merchant service providers, banks, financial institutions, and independent sales organizations. Our flagship product is Swipe Simple. It's used by tens of thousands of small businesses with both hardware for accepting credit card payments and software that helps them takes credit card payments wherever they're at. And we sell through a partner channel, so we work with leading merchant acquirers in the industry, and we're proud to say that as a 5-year-old company, we have 10 of the top 30 merchant acquirers in the US as customers of ours.
Can you give us a payment tech 101?
Sure, because it's quite complicated. I know if you go to a retailer or a restaurant, and it's very easy to pay with a credit card, and I think people take that for granted that behind the scenes, there's actually a lot of people involved in making that transaction possible and making it run so seamlessly. So you've got the credit card issuer who issues consumers credit cards. So personally, I use a Chase Visa card, and so Chase Bank is my issuer, of course. Then you've got a payment network, Visa being an example, or MasterCard or others. And then on the merchant side, you have a merchant acquirer, and the merchant acquirer's responsibility is to help those small businesses have the ability to accept credit card payments and accept Visa and MasterCards, regardless of who the consumer's bank is. And that merchant side is where CardFlight fits into the ecosystem, and we partner with those merchant acquirers to help them offer great solutions to their small business customers.
Contactless payment seems to be a little bit of a buzzword out there. What is that?
It is, and it's a buzzword because it's growing fast. So contactless payments is a way of a customer tapping to make a payment rather than having to insert that chip card into a credit card reader. It's great for a much faster, more seamless checkout experience. And the US, to be honest, is playing a little bit of catch up. Over in Europe, actually more than half of all face-to-face credit card payments are actually happening over contactless technology. And I think in the coming years in the US, you're going to see a lot more contactless payments being made, whether they be through credit cards being issued with contactless antennas on them, or through people's smartphones, technologies like Apple Pay or Google Pay or Samsung Pay that allows a consumer to pay via credit card without actually having to have that physical credit card in hand.
What is Square, and how does it differ from CardFlight?
Yeah, so Square and CardFlight both got our beginnings in helping small businesses use their smartphones to take payments wherever they're at, and with audio jack-based card reader kind of dongle attachments and apps for iPhones and Android smartphones. Both of our businesses, as we've grown, have expanded into serving a wide range of small business payment acceptance needs, and not just on smartphones, and not just for on-the-go merchants, and serving retail and services-based merchants as well. The big difference, though, is in our go-to-market approach. So Square sells directly to small business customers and supports them directly. We are more of an indirect provider. So our customers and partners are the merchant acquirers of the world and the traditional financial institutions who've historically, had relationships with small business customers and are looking to power them with the ability to take credit card payments. And what we bring to the table in that is that same kind of modern software and hardware that helps a small business quickly and easily take a payment, but in a way that can be sold and supported by that merchant acquirer financial institution that the small business owner already has a relationship with and trusts.
So you focus on small business owners. What are some of the needs of those small business owners?
So what aren't the needs of small business owners? And what I mean by that is a small business owner has so many things they have to deal with in their day-to-day life, and so many different things, and running in so many different directions. And I think, to be honest, one of the things the payment industry hasn't done a great job of historically is making it really easy and accessible and effective for a small business owner who isn't an expert in the complicated world of payments. And so, I think really the needs are for simple, effective solutions, and ultimately they just want to take a payment. And the smaller the business is, the more the value is just around helping them complete the sale and get paid as quickly as possible, and using the payment methods that their customers want to use, which is typically a credit or debit card.
So if I owned a coffee shop, I would use CardFlight to, deal with all the payments inside my coffee shop.
You absolutely could. That would be our Swipe Simple product that we have that serves that. And it's not only food service restaurants like a coffee shop. It's also a lot of retail and services-based businesses as well. So, we provide the software and the card reading hardware that the small business uses to take their payments and to manage their business across all of those verticals.
Are there inefficiencies in payment tech today?
There are lots. So, I mean, what people don't realize is electronic payments is not something brand new. Visa itself is a 60-year-old company. And most of the ways of conducting an electronic payment transaction throughout history are still in use today. Obviously, they've evolved and new ones have been introduced, but there's plenty of complexity involved there, and that leads to a lot of inefficiencies. It also creates opportunities for industry experts like us that can navigate that complex landscape and try to make things as simple and easy as possible for that small business owner, and have them not have to know or understand or appreciate the things we're doing behind the scenes to make that all possible.
So we talked about contactless payments, sort of a tap and pay. What are your thoughts on Apple Pay?
So I think anything that makes the transaction faster and easier is a win. So Apple Pay is a great example of that, and other contactless payment methods on smartphones like Google Pay or Samsung Pay are great as well. And I think increasingly you're going to see it's going to become a lot more easy for a consumer to use their smartphone to pay at the point of sale. In the US, we're seeing a significant increase in the rollout of contactless payment acceptance terminals. If you look for there's a symbol that you're supposed to look for as a consumer. It looks like the Wi-Fi logo, but turned on its side. Yeah. And that is intended to signify that you can use a contactless payment method, whether that be Apple Pay or a mobile wallet, or increasingly you're going to start seeing credit cards that have those contactless antennas on them.
So how is it creating a mobile-first company in a vertical that's super traditional?
It's challenging, and it's a balancing act. So I think it lends itself to a company with that kind of product development DNA that we have to build simple and easy solutions. And I think that's very challenging for an older, more legacy company to build software-enabled solutions in a modern way. And that creates an opportunity for us to help move the industry forward. But the reality is we are a financial transaction processing company, and we move around billions of dollars a year of other people's money. And that comes with significant responsibility for us and our team to stand behind that and to make sure that transactions have high availability, high accuracy, high redundancy, high levels of security. And so, that's one of the unique things about building a technology startup in the financial services segment is you really do have to build for that enterprise grade scale from the beginning, because when you're moving around someone's money, being 99% accurate isn't good enough.
Sure. I love asking people, what were they doing before they got to their CEO or founder post? What were you doing before CardFlight?
Yeah, so I've accidentally been kind of a lifelong nerd and a payments nerd specifically. So I went to Georgetown University undergrad, and while I was a finance major in school, I was a self-taught coder and would code up websites for people, for beer money out of my dorm room. So I've always been technical. But then from there, I about 15 years ago joined E-Trade when they were trying to get into many different lines of business, and actually had the good fortune of being the third employee in their credit card issuing group. So I got to run product development, product marketing for that company. Then from there went out to Stanford Business School, and then was a strategy consultant for Oliver Wyman, where I focused on retail banking and payments customers. So I led a number of very senior strategy projects for many of the big and incumbents in the industry. And ultimately, while I loved the analysis and the strategy and scale of what we were doing and who we were working with, I'm an operator at heart, and I wanted to be more hands-on. And so in 2011, I founded a predecessor company to CardFlight, and we've been CardFlight ever since 2013.
And the idea just came from all this work that you've been doing in the industry and the predecessor company?
It's a little more accidental than that. So the predecessor company I had founded was basically trying to tie together consumers and being a frequent flyer miles program for small businesses, where whenever a consumer spent money on their credit or debit cards at merchants in our network, they could earn rewards. And in trying to do that, we were looking to build an enrollment kiosk that a user could swipe their credit card to sign up for a loyalty program. And when we started researching the ways to actually build this, we realized it was way more complicated than it should be or needed to be. And we felt that we're an engineering team and an engineering culture, and we felt confident we could solve that engineering problem and do it safely and securely and compliantly. But it was way more complicated than it needed to be. And so the original kind of genesis of CardFlight was saying, well, if we solve that problem of integrating with card readers and securely processing a credit card transaction, is there a market besides this loyalty program we had? And the answer was a resounding yes. And so that's why we shifted focuses and have been CardFlight ever since, and really focused on providing mobile-first payment acceptance technology in what is a very complicated and regulated world behind the scenes.
Wow. So you're a nimble company, 40 employees. And according to Inc. magazine, you're the 5th growing financial company in America. How did you ramp up so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, it's to be an overnight success has taken us a few thousand days. We have been at it for 5 years, and it's just been, building on success after success, and helping to grow and scale there. But it's ultimately treating customers really well, and in our customers directly are those merchant acquirers and financial institutions, and giving them great products, but standing behind it with good support, and also understanding the way they do business and the way they operate, which is different than how we, internally in the office environment at CardFlight looks like, and having a respect and appreciation for them. And also then a respect and appreciation for the tens of thousands of small business customers that are using our software every day, and making sure we just make things as easy and simple and effective as possible for them. And if you do that really well, which is tough, but if you do that really well, success begets success. And so, 5 years later, we have been able to grow and scale in the way we have.
What's your biggest success to date?
So I think our biggest success was being one of the first mobile providers in the United States approved for EMV chip card payment acceptance way back in 2015. And I'll be honest, the migration from swiping credit cards to dipping EMV chip cards in the US has been challenging for the industry and challenging for consumers. But it is a very important security advance that makes a transaction more secure and safer and reduces fraud in the ecosystem. And I think we're proud to have played a leadership role. And we were one of the first providers in the market providing mobile EMV payment acceptance. And at the time, we were only a 2-year-old company. And that's really what allowed us to position ourselves not as this fly-by-night startup, but rather as this serious, mature company in our space that, when there is a technology shift, we help our customers react to that technology shift. And so, those handwritten, no chips, paper things that get inserted in chip card readers, I'm proud to say we've never had a CardFlight merchant that's had to do that, because we've been able to give them that payment acceptance technology from the beginning.
Cool. Derek, what's the best thing about your job?
Oh, there's a lot of things. I think what I genuinely love the role of being a founder and CEO, and just the amount of things you have to do. I mean, obviously I'm our company's primary cheerleader, whether it be in external things like this or even internal things, working with, all the team members in our office and out in the field serving and supporting customers. I mean, this week alone, I'm working with our finance team on our 2019 plan and preparing for a board meeting. I'm working with 2 of our largest customers on some potentially major partnership and product launches that we can do in 2019 together. Working with our marketing team on brand strategy and how we go branding, and interviewing 5 different candidates. And I love all of those aspects of the job, and I love also being able to see the entire picture and work and try to keep it all in balance, which, when we're growing, more than 50% a year, which creates its own challenges that come with it. But I love, responding to those, reacting to them, and more importantly, planning ahead for them and bringing them about.
You're a Renaissance man. Nasdaq is home to many entrepreneurs. Do you have advice for any entrepreneurs out there?
I think to stay focused on your customers. So I think the biggest mistakes I've made in my entrepreneurial career have been when I fell so in love with my solution that I didn't bother to pay attention to whether it solved real and genuine problems for our customers. So, as I've grown and matured as an entrepreneur, I've gotten a lot more ruthless about paying attention to our customers and what they need and what they want. And quite frankly, being willing to change our solution or change our approach to match, the needs of our customers.
Derek, thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for watching. I'm Elise Southwell, and this is Nasdaq Disruptors.